Okay, so we will start. Is everybody here? Are we back from the break? And most of all, can you hear me? Oh, good. Can you hear? Oh, good. Okay, so we'll proceed to the presentation. By the way, this is something that you will. Do you know why this advertisement doesn't have a girl? Can anyone guess?
I guess
Yes.
that this is suitable for both the man and the woman.
I guess that it is for
That's a
both
good point.
man
I
and
didn't think
woman.
about it. Just wait. That's a good point. I didn't think about it. That's a good point. I had another answer, but that's a good point. It could be for men and women. Yeah, now we don't have anyone turning heads. It could be for anybody. That's a good point. Another person, what were you saying?
I say that is for both men and women, as she just said, and it's especially for the one who want to be on train.
Yeah, right. But there is another. Can I suggest to you something? What to look for? Today we will not cover that element. You know, when I talk about the major elements of text, because poster is a text too, right? Poster is a text too because poster is a text. It communicates. Poster communicates to you message. Don't bully, don't smoke, right? Street signs, road signs. Don't drive over 100 kilometers, right? They all communication, means of communication. So so I will teach you, not today, we will not cover, it's just not enough time. And also the format online is a little bit harder, makes things harder. So, but I will teach you this next time when we meet. And then you will know, I mean, you will be seeing, like you will say, how come I didn't see it before? Well, can you see in the background? What view do you see? It's a
I see a
city.
very modern city.
See a lot of towers and skyscrapers.
Right. Does anyone know what city it is?
Maybe New York.
It's Dubai. See this tall tower that goes beyond the clouds? Okay, so in Dubai, it would be culturally inappropriate to put a woman as a symbol of attraction, right? You wouldn't put a woman there because it's of religious reasons, right? So you're right that it could be because it's for men and women, but also it's in Dubai, and Dubai is an Arabic country, and they are Muslim, and they do not put women with, you know, without scarf and covered in the middle of advertisement. So a woman is not an attractor in the culture of Islam, right? So it's not there. So that's just a little cultural element. Now you see, when we have just these pointers here, which is what kind of relationship and so on, you can't see it's Dubai and you wouldn't even look at it, right? The point is, these points that we took from the matrimonial discourse analysis, if we apply to this picture, it's not straightforward for us to see it's Dubai. And Dubai means Islamic culture. That means a no for women in posters. So we need more powerful systems. Now, I certainly for the next so many weeks, I will be introducing you to my models, which I claim are powerful. But this is not to say that you cannot invent another tool or a better tool, right? So there is a space of inquiry for researchers. It's really, we cannot say that when someone wrote discourse analysis tools in the 1960s or 70s, which is where systemic functional linguistics come from, you will be learning it from the other lecturer. These are old systems, 50 years ago. And what makes them old is that new research has come up, new evidence, new findings. And the findings are not irrelevant. We need to think how to integrate the new evidence into our current knowledge. So that's what I try to do. And I think that there's a space of inquiry for other people to look at different evidence and maybe modernize our discourse analysis tools. So that's my argument. You can see you are now introduced to the way of lecturing, which may be different than you are used to. I do not preach. I do not tell you how the world is like in the way that you might expect. It's all a closed book. There's nothing to add. What I'm saying to you is I am weak. I think, I create, but I'm fundamentally weak and more can be done. And you are now learning from a person who says she's weak. But I'm also saying I know that more can be done because I know there's more evidence coming in. And in that sense, I'm making a strong argument. So the strength of my presentation to you is not that I am just a genius. It's that I say there is evidence that has come up recently and needs to be integrated. That's the strength. My model could be good, could be a little bit good. It doesn't have to be perfect. There's a space of inquiry that you, if you one day want to pursue research, there is something to be done. So all over the world, as the people who teach systemic functional linguistics have spread from Melbourne all around the world and Sydney around the world, now it is like a, the model to use. However, the model was invented in the 60s, 70s, and it took 50 years to spread it, and it's old. By the time it reaches everyone, it's old. It's interesting, isn't it? So, so let us look. So another thing I wanted to make, people who teach systemic functional linguistics, which is where a lot of descriptive discourse analysis tools come from, and I am not going into it. The other lecturer will go into detail here. But what I am saying is they often say that sentence or the clause is the most important part of text. And the reason why, I saw my colleagues, professors really being stunned when the person said that. That's because they don't understand where systemic functional linguistics come from. It comes from the analysis of a sentence. So the advertiser is the who and whom, right? Something like that. What, the car, how, well, the relationships, what relationships they want to know, how they portray the thing, and what for, come and sell things, come and buy things from us. So these are questions that very often are seen as fundamentals of discourse analysis, but they are, in essence, subject, who, does what, to whom, whatever. An infinitive clause is basically for what purpose? To sell the car, right? Or to attract attention to the new car. So advertiser is the who, is presenting the car. I forgot what words I had here, but basically it's the whole tool of analysis here comes from the analysis of a sentence structure, subject, verb, object, and prepositional phrase, which could be for whom, and infinitive clause, which could be in order to, right? And I might actually work it out better for you for next week, but explain it better. But basically what it is. So the only evidence that the linguists from systemic functional linguistics have to create their tools for discourse analysis is the structure of a clause. And now they take this structure, and then they create questions like who, what, how, for whom, in order to do what, right? That's basically the basic structure of a sentence. And it may have worked in the past, but we have no evidence. Anyway, let's, without losing much time, I will introduce you to a different way of doing things. So on the one hand, we will be now analyzing this matrimonial advertisement using a completely different model for thinking about a sequence. And then later on, next time we meet, we will also do another thing, which means by looking at paintings or posters, we will learn how to identify major components of all texts and how to then map them on this particular structure in order to synthesize what the text is about, which is to produce your analysis. Your analysis is a synthesis of your thinking. Analysis is a synthesis of your thinking. So you analyze and then you produce a synthesis of your thinking. So I just wanted to say that, just in case you catch it now. If you don't, just go with the flow. Okay, so we have, I divided every text, and it's, I claim that every text has 6 stages. Every text. Some of those stages can be implied. I give you an example. So I had a 10-year-old girl from Indonesia asking me, "You're so good, Ania. So where is the moral in the recipe?" Right? Good question. Loved it. Because when you are used to the fact that everything has to be in front of you in order for you to see it, then you're not critically thinking. You're not thinking. You're just looking. Right? If you're expecting that everything will be in front of you, then you are not thinking. You are looking at the thing. And that's what the 10-year-old was doing. Mind you, it wasn't her homework. We were having dinner together. She was a daughter of my doctoral student. And my doctoral student was doing this project in Indonesia. And obviously the whole family was living the project. And the girl who was is extremely smart came up with a genre where the moral is not actually written down. A recipe says take 2 eggs, mix them with water, mix them with flour, and get a pancake that way. Right? And what's the moral? What's the moral? If you do it, it's always best to do as I tell you if you want to have a great pancake. It's implied. That's the whole point of a recipe. The moral is the whole point of recipe. It's best to do it my way if you want to have a good pancake. So it wasn't said, it wasn't written, because it doesn't have to be written. The point of every recipe is do it this way, you'll get it right. You don't do it this way, well, struggle. Right? You want to throw out your ingredients into the toilet? Don't do it my way. So she was great. So I'm mentioning it for you to see the difference between thinking and looking at things, right? But let's have a look whether we have all elements in this text. In English language, the beginning is the most important point in the text, the beginning of a paragraph or beginning of anything. So right at the start, you tell people what's the most important. And so where are we? What's the most important point? And what she does is, I am here on offer. Right? I am here on offer. And this is who I am. Everything else that will follow depends on how I describe myself. So if you don't like sensual people, if you don't like imaginative brunettes, if you're not after someone who's 25 but 52, ignore this ad. So right at the start, you put the hook, right, from which everything else follows. Cinderella, how does Cinderella start? Once upon a time in a beautiful forest behind the 7 oceans and 7 something else, there was a family, right? So once upon a time means what? It's a signal of a story for children, right? But it takes you, it's the purpose of it is emotionally to take you out of today to somewhere else, imaginative space, right? That's why it's right at the start. So we could discuss it here. We have a sequence here, but I claim this text follows because every text follows a sequence. But we are also, we're not just communicative creatures. Our meanings are informed by the emotions we want to communicate. So we don't communicate just words. This is a door, this is a wall, this is a ceiling. We want to say, have you seen the walls, the wallpaper in my house? So what you're doing is evoking interest in your house. If I say, have you seen my latest blender? What you mean here is come to my house. Look at my blender. Right, so why is she starting with the word sensual, imaginative, brunette? Right, so it's a beginning. It's like, so the focus of the story is her. Not the guy, it's her, because she puts herself on sale, so to speak, right? She's the object that people can relate to or can't relate to. So she puts this thing first. It's the focus of the text. Why is she using the word sensual, imaginative? Why isn't she saying, I'm short and a bit stocky? She could be. She's not saying that she isn't. So why is she saying she's sensual, imaginative? Why is she saying these things? Anyone knows? It's very simple, guys. You have to say it. You've got to know why she's saying, I'm sensual. I'm a 25-year-old. I'm sensual. I'm artistic. I am, what else is she saying? I'm intelligent. What emotions are these words communicating? So we don't know what emotions is it communicating. Isn't she saying, I'm excellent? She could have said, I'm not perfect, I'm short, and I've got pimples, but I love life. That would have been balanced. She's not, I mean, there's not a single emotion. What she's not, she's constructing herself with her positives, right? Are we having students there? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, friends, so how hard was it to say that when she's saying I'm sensual? What does sensual mean?
Now, it also mean a normal person, a normal woman. Yes, I think so.
Sensual means I feel. I am sensitive. I feel. I have what it really means is sexually attractive. She doesn't say I'm cold, right? So sensual as opposed to she could have said cold, right? She doesn't say cold. So here she defines herself with emotions with words that generate the emotion that she's an amazing woman, sexually attractive, right? Interesting, imaginative brunette, interesting, has talents. She's young, has talents, right? So she's describing herself here in some way limiting the market, right? But what she's saying here is she's communicating a positive emotion about herself that constructs her as sexually attractive and interesting. Interesting because she's got talent, she's intelligent, she can laugh, all that, right? So let me say here, I'll write it down. She's sensual, so sexually sensitive, something like that. Maybe she's young, imaginative. What would we say? Interesting, right? Imaginative. She is intelligent and can laugh. These are the emotions. She describes herself through through adjectives that communicate the positive emotion, construct her as sexually attractive, interesting, and can laugh. She's not just intelligent. She can sit with you in the bar and laugh her head off, right? That's very interesting. So we have a full descriptor of her here as a person who is kind of like a middle class. And she communicates to evoke that emotion of, do I relate to her or not? Do I want a woman who is fun? All that. Why is she saying this? I'm just gonna make it in white so you can see it better. Remember the other model of discourse analysis did not identify why the advertiser, the person here, described herself in 3 different sentences. But I think it's important. So she enjoys home life, cooking, and sports. Why did she say that? Can you write it in chat? I'll copy that in chat so we can say it and think. Yes, I agree here. Well, it's not necessary she wants to find the man who is the same as her. She wants to find a man, like I'm responding to Hyeni, who can cope with those values, you know, humorous, intelligent, sexually arousable, sensual. Maybe she wants her partner to share the same lifestyle. Yes, but what lifestyle it is? Exactly, but what lifestyle? You see how you, sometimes when you write this, and this is something I had to learn when I was a postgraduate student. I used to write words, texts, and my supervisor used to say to me, you write very dense, which is exactly like Non Phuong wrote here, just a thought, and that's a draft. And then you need to elaborate on it, right? Okay, she wants a partner to share the same lifestyle, which this is a good point, but you need to elaborate, which is what? What lifestyle? What emotion is she communicating? You see, every word you use, you actually use it on purpose to evoke an emotion in another person, right? So she uses the words, whether she knows it or not, as simple as no, that's not really. No. It is yes, an inner lifestyle, yes. Like she sports, country life, yeah, that's fun, right? But there is a keyword there that you are missing. That's a matrimonial advertisement. This is not about what is she doing, what lifestyle it is, what does she want. She enjoys home life, cooking, sports, country life. Okay, I'll give you a few seconds more to spot the keyword. If you cannot see what emotion she's actually evoking here or communicating, let me say it to you differently. I enjoy pub. Imagine if she wrote like this. I enjoy pub crawling, skiing, and meeting friends. Didn't she say that? She probably likes pub crawling. She probably likes skiing because it's sports. She probably likes meeting friends. Why didn't she say that? Yeah, who said that? Fun then. Housework. Wife. Exactly. She's saying, look at this, guys. She's saying, I enjoy home life. Home life. Here was the key. She put it right at the start. Remember, it's English. You always look at the beginning first because it's the key. In English, you always start with the most important element. In Vietnamese, I don't know, but in English, everything begins with the most important thing. Everything begins with the most important thing. See what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying? You see what I am saying, right? So right at the start is the most important element. Right at the start is the most important element, right? Home life, exactly. It's wife. It's exactly the thing. What did she say there? She likes country what? Country life, stability. Home life, country life, stability. I like cuddling. That's what she's saying. I like cuddling. I like the fireplace, country lifestyle. What's a country lifestyle? A hut in the woods, a fireplace, and you and me. She's looking for a husband or someone like a husband because she says, I want a home life. I don't want pub crawling and drinking. I like pub crawling, but it's not what I am after. I already do it without you, right? That's why she didn't say I like pub crawling, because if she said that she enjoys pub like to drink, pub crawling, skiing, and meeting friends, it doesn't communicate the feeling of stability. A person who describes herself that she likes drinking, meeting people, and running around mountains is not a mother. It's a teenager. Surely when you're 40, you can go drinking, skiing, and meeting friends, but you don't describe yourself in those terms. It's not essentially you. Right? When you're 20, 30 or something, you go to the next stage. Now I'm after warmth, cuddles, fireplace, you and me. No longer me and the rest of the world. Now it's just you and me. Right? So that's the emotion of stability she's evoking by choosing those words. I'd say here, okay, so I don't really know how to teach it because I've never taught my system using advertisements first. Usually I use the fable. So we just have to live with that. That's number 2. Why isn't it coming up as number 2? Well, that's number 2. You see, number 2 is not coming up. Anyway, what she's saying here, this is central to her text. It's the problem. This part, I enjoy home life cooking. It's the problem around which the whole advertisement is constructed. I do not wish to live alone. That's the problem around which every text is constructed around the problem. Every text. Your thesis, if you want to write a research paper, you have to state the problem. Every text is constructed around the problem, and her problem is, I do not wish to live alone. Therefore, I will choose words that communicate me as a stable person ready for marriage or something like that, right? So you can see when we try to break the sequence, rather than to say, oh, she simply describes herself, which is what the other model had, when we break it, by looking first how she introduces herself, and then we ask the question, so what problem is she trying to resolve? Where's the problem here? And she says, well, I don't want to be alone. So if she doesn't want to be alone, she needs to communicate it. Who am I? A teenager? I mean, you can be 30 and behave as a teenager. And she says, I'm not a teenager. I want my country home. I want to do the things that housewives do, like the person here mentioned. I can't remember your name. I want to do the cooking. Yeah, I like sport too. I can move. You know, I'm not sitting and eating all day. So she countered the homemaker with sport to evoke what emotion? I'm not a fat slob, right? I don't just do home life, cooking, and looking at the fireplace. I also move, which makes me look attractive, right? I'm a dynamic person, but I don't just run around the mountains, nor do I just cook and eat all day. I want to project stability, but also demonstrate that I have some dynamicity about me. So there. Let's look at the third sentence. I made it in green. Well, I don't know. No ties, and I have no ties and I own home. Why did she say that? What emotion is she evoking by saying that? So what emotion? She's saying, I have no ties and I own a home. What emotion is she projecting now? Independent, right? I don't want you for your house. I don't want you for your money. That's pretty good. But why is she saying she has no ties? That's it. That's it. A clear relationship, right? I'm ready. I'm ready. There, I have no, what they say in English, I have no skeletons in my closet, right? I have no skeletons in my closet, so no monsters behind me. I'm free. The slate is clean. I am ready. That's it. So what she's actually doing here, let me point to you. Why I knew to make it, to analyze it separately from the red element. Why I knew that is because in the red element, she constructs the problem, which is, I don't wish to live alone. And in the green thing, she talks about the problem, which is, I'm ready. So the green thing really says, I am ready for partnership, marriage, whatever, right? I'm ready. And now she's saying, all right, so now you know who I am. Now you know my problem. And now you know how I feel about my problem, right? I'm ready. I have all the qualities. I'm pretty good. I have a problem, but I'm single, but I'm ready. I have no skeletons in my closet. I have no monsters hiding. I'm ready. Now she's saying, well, I want a guy like that. And I call it development. So what happened? Okay, so now we know the context, the problem, who she is, and her view on her problem. And her view on her problem is, I'm ready to make a change, right? So the green element is, I'm ready for a change. Great. And then so what's my response to it? She says, well, I'm looking for a guy. So what happens? So what happens now is, I'm looking for a guy. Here, his elements here, his descriptors, whatever they are. And to complete the discussion, she says, well, I will respond to you. This is the outcome. If, you know, I will respond. If you write to me, I will respond. So that's the outcome. You will hear from me. That's the outcome. So basically, she's saying here in the outcome, you will hear from me if you send a photo, right? On Facebook, very often I get requests from people from all over the world to be friends with me. So I'm very careful. And one of the things I check is the profile, you know, the about the person. I will click that I accept the person if this person has a public profile. If they don't have a public profile, I just don't know who it is. It could be some predator, it could be some crazy person. I don't want them. It could be some person who collects friends, right? So So the condition for me to accept someone as a friend is they have a profile that is interesting for me, mostly professional educator or something like that. So I will click. My response will be, you will hear from me if you have a public profile on your Facebook. And she says the same. So the outcome of all of this is you will hear from me if you send me your photo. I need to see your face so I can read more to you than just your curriculum vitae. But look this additional information. Must feel able to love my dog and live in London. All right, now we've done a lot of analysis, so I'm gonna go on the chat and ask you which stage of the discourse is this additional information about the dog and about London. With which color should I color it? The moral is the ultimate objective, right? So that's the moral. All right. I don't think London or anywhere would be the moral, right? Must feel the ultimate objective is not to love Ben, it's to love her, right? So what do I do with this? What the other person, the other linguist called additional information? What do I do with that? Must feel able to love Ben, my dog, to London anywhere. To come from, he must be coming from London or anywhere, just about. Very good discussion here. So what do I do now with this added information? With what part of the sequence it is? If you don't know, can you write, I don't know? So at least I know that you're sort of not asleep. I just need to know who is here actually present. If you don't know, then just say, I don't know, if you can type. Because otherwise I think that people are just gone. Okay, so you see, that's a good clue for me. The end of the advertisement is here. I'll just make it bold and underline it. The end of her matrimonial advertisement is, must feel able to love Ben, my dog, too. So the person who will write to her, who wants to be with her, should love her dog and should come from London or anywhere. Where does this bit belong in the sequence? Is it the yellow, red, green, gray, pink, or blue? Is this a moral? Is this a resolution? Is this a development? Where does it belong? Gray. I think it should be colored red. So is it the problem? You think it's not the, if it is colored red color, okay, so red, good discussion. Red colors a problem around which the entire advertisement is constructed, right? The problem around which the whole text revolves. Every text revolves around the problem, right? So I think her problem is that she is ready for marriage, right? That's the problem. I don't want to be single. That's her problem. Gray, development. All right, why development? Okay, great, green. Green is the dialogue. It's the section where you say something about the problem, right? what she does, she's saying, I'm ready for marriage. I don't want to be single. That's the red. In the red, when she says I'm a homemaker or whatever, she says, I'm ready for marriage. And then she adds, I have no skeletons. My slate is clean. I'm as single can be, right? And independent, right? So the green really is another, it's a perspective on the problem, which is I'm ready for marriage, and the perspective, and not only ready emotionally, but also ready in terms of my relationships, right? So she elaborates, so the green is elaboration on the red. I am not just ready, I am free and independent. Gray is development. So what happened, right? And I would mark it as gray too, because it still describes the boy, right? He has to be tall, strong, intelligent, able to love my dog, and come from London or just about anywhere. So whoever said gray was a great response. Whoever said red or green enabled me to explain the sequence better, right? So the green talks about it's a perspective on the problem. I not only don't want to be single, I'm also ready, right? I have no skeletons in my closet, which means I have no ex-husbands, ex-boyfriends, people hanging around, you know, I'm ready. Gray is, so what happened? Well, what happened? I'm looking for a guy like this, like this, like this, like this, like this. Question is, this is a very well constructed advertisement, and I will show you any minute why. Why did she put, why? You see the discourse analysis, this is really nice now. So we have here, beautiful. First we had yellow, then we had red, then we had green as it should be in each text, then we have a development, then we have resolution, and then we have the afterthought, right? Why did she go back here? Why did she put gray after the resolution? It's called, it's a trick. It's a writer's trick or something. It's a purposeful strategy. She did it on purpose. She's a very smart girl, really smart. You can see it in the ad. I don't know. She could be smart, or she paid someone to do it, because it's a very well constructed advertisement, and I will show you soon why. So why did she go from gray to pink and then back again to gray? Normally, when you write your thesis or assignments, you don't do it, right? In an academic text, you don't do this trick, because if you do something which is about development, you do everything that belongs to the development in the development. You can't jump. Academic texts are so complicated that if you were playing with the sequence too much, nobody would understand you, right? So academic structure is very canonical, right? It's a canon. There's no movement, right? As soon as you make a change, you confuse everybody. But she broke the canon. She had gray, pink, gray. Why? So she describes him. Then she says, I will reply if you send a photo, which is the resolution of the ad. You will hear from me. You'll hear from me. That's the resolution of the whole ad. You will hear from me. I'm very interested. I'm eager. I will write to you. Just send me a photo. I will write to you. I'm a girl who will respond. I'm not sending. So that's why she said that. I will respond, because she says, I'm very serious. Provided you are serious, I am serious. So no matter what, whether you don't even fit in my mind, my intention is I will respond. So what emotion is she communicating? I am serious. I take you seriously. I care. Right? All right. So that, and then she goes back to describing the guy again. Why? Well, yes, but it's not really an add-on. Can you make it a little bit more precise in terms of the function? What emotion do you feel when she talks about the dog after she really finished the ad? How do you perceive it emotionally? So I want a guy who is tall and beautiful and smart, and I am serious, I will write back, and my dog is important. Right? Why did she put it at the end? Did she do it as an afterthought? Or did she do it to stress exactly what you say, to stress the importance? Imagine if she said, so you have to ask yourself these questions, right? So you've got this structure here. You follow the structure and you ask yourself about emotions that she's communicating through each of the stages of this structure. Imagine if she said, so ask yourselves, this is what you do. As an editor, as a writer, as a thinker, you put it now where it should be, right at the end. Which is, I'm seeking a tall, strong guy who loves romance, is 25, 35, and then must be able to love my dog, can come from London or anywhere, and I will respond with a photo. Does it have the same effect? That's something that I suggest you think to yourselves about. We can chat about it. I'll see what you're saying in the chat. But what she did, she took the descriptor of the guy and placed it right at the end because she knew that with the pink element, the advertisement finished. And now at the end, she added dog because it was so important that she didn't want the dog to disappear among, he must be tall, he must be young, he must be passionate, he must be modern, he must be this, he must love my dog, he must have a house, he must have this. It would just disappear. So what she did, that's a writer's trick. She put what belonged inside there, and to give it prominence, she exposed it. And that is the condition, right? All of that, but that is a condition. If you don't love dogs, just don't write. Right? She made it extremely important. She knew, I mean, she doesn't use my model for writing, right? It's my model. But it's a model that is inside of our bodies. I got it from neuroscience. So it's inside of our bodies, right? So she knew she finished the ad by saying, I'm serious, projecting the emotion, I'm serious, meaning if you write to me, I'll write back. I'm a serious person. This whole ad is very serious. I will write back, provided you send me a photo, which means you also are serious, right? So that's that. And that wasn't an afterthought. It wasn't humorous. Remember how the other person, when we were analyzing the text, this one here, in that book, they said it was an added information, an extra information, and it was just humorous. There was nothing, in my view, humorous about it. She exposed it, she made it prominent, she broke the sequence. She broke the holy canon of proper sequence of text in order to make it more prominent. So when you over there breathing out and you say, okay, she'll write back if I send her a photo. And what's this? And she says, well, the dog and London, but especially the dog, right? Because she reduced the London, saying London would be preferable, but from anywhere. That bit about London was also not humorous. And the dog was also not humorous. These two bits have nothing to do with humor. She wasn't laughing. She's saying, I have a dog and dog stays. Right? Sometimes when you find a guy and he says, I hate dogs, I'm allergic to dogs, I don't know, whatever, a dog bit me, no dogs. And she says, no, 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 the dog stays. And it was taken out of the gray area and put after the pink area to accentuate it, make it prominent and say, not only I'm a serious person right through, but that is a deal breaker. Right. So let me show you something. We will finish. We didn't do obviously everything, and I was hoping we'd do everything. You know, I produced like 50 slides, and I always think I cover everything, but it's very slow because it's a new concept. Let me tell you something about this text. If I might just remove this for a moment and make it bigger for you so you can see it better. This ad was produced after the first draft was written. That's how we write, right? That draft might have been in her head, but that's the intentional draft. What she really said in this ad was, I'm highly sexually attractive, you know, the sensual thing. I'm sensual, I'm highly attractive, young and very much single, right? Very much single. I don't know where I got that from. We'll come back. I seek home life filled with joy, which is the home life, cooking, sports, country life. It's all joy. It's a joyful activities. I seek home life or a partner who, I seek home life filled with joy. I have no skeletons in my closet and seek someone just as attractive, passionate, smart as a companion. And look, I didn't put this. I didn't take it out of a sequence. I inserted it there. Best from London, but not necessarily. Who will also tolerate my dog? You see, I followed the canon here, and I didn't extract the dog to put him at the end, because that was a writer's trick, what she did, right? That was showing skill of writing. If a dog is so important, put him there, right at the end, where he doesn't disappear. Because here it disappears among the smart companion best from London, rah, rah, rah. It disappears, right? But that was the intention. So really what she's saying, I have no skeletons, which means, you know, that dialogue, the green thing. I'm seeking someone just as good as I am, preferably from London, but not necessarily. The guy has to tolerate my dog. Please send a reply with a photo and I will respond. And here's the moral. If you are the right person, it is best to write and meet up, right? That's the objective. Moral is the message that the ad communicates. If you are the right person, it's best to write and meet up. Right? That's what's implied, like with the recipe. If you do what I tell you, it is best to do what I tell you because your pancake will be just great. And here she's saying, if you write the person, it is best to write to me, and we'll meet up. I will show you something else just to finish for today. I'll remove that. I guess I got the very much single here because I think it was it was a matrimonial ad, so I just put it there. But I don't think she's saying this But that's an emotional meaning of this ad, right? But maybe not very much single, but and ready for a new relationship. This is what emotionally these yellow words communicate. I'm highly attractive, I'm young and ready for a relationship. I'm sensual, right? Ready. I'm a person who feels. I'm ready for a new relationship. I seek home life. So this is the draft, right? This is the draft I'm reading and comparing how it matches the ad. I have no skeletons in my closet, right? So this is the draft. And I seek someone who is as wonderful as I am, right? And who loves my dog. Please respond. And the moral of the story is, if you are the right person, it is best to write and meet up. And I will send you, I'll post on the course notes the PowerPoint up to this end for you to look at it and think about it. So what I'm saying is this was the ad. This was the ad, right? And this is what I call a draft. Before someone edited it beautifully, right? To expose the dog, expose the London. So that was a draft, you know. I want to communicate. So she sat down at the table and wrote, okay, I have to use words that will communicate that I'm highly attractive, I'm young, and I'm ready for a new relationship. How the heck do you say that? And then you scratch yourself for a week in your head, wondering, how the heck do you say I'm highly attractive? I could say I'm highly attractive, but it sounds really phony, really weird. So how do I do it? Then my problem is I'm single. So everybody knows I'm single, but not really. Maybe they don't, because sometimes people, see, these are the thoughts she's going through writing this. Well, I'll just say that I need to indicate that my problem is that I'm single. So, so she might have not written that I seek home life, but basically she could have written here, my problem is that I am single, right? I'm so wonderful. So this was her draft. These were her initial thoughts that she then turned into beautiful words that we had in the ad. So my problem is I'm just wonderful and ready for a relationship, but my problem is I'm single. I'm not only single, I also have no skeletons. So to tell you how much I am single, my comment is I have nobody there, nobody's hiding, no boyfriends. And what I am now doing is looking for someone who is just as good as me. And I'm very serious, so respond to me and I'll respond to you. And the moral or the ultimate objective is, if you are the right person, it is best to write and meet up. Now you will find, I'm not sure whether I'm not too fast, but you will find that when people write advertisements, matrimonial advertisements, very often they will actually say these words. So these words will appear in the advertisement. Yeah. But she decided not to, because she thought it was enough. It was implied. She doesn't need to say it. Because if you say too many times, please, please, please write to me, you're not looking independent, you are groveling. You're begging people, please write to me or I will die alone with my dog, right? So she knew. Some people say that. If you are the right person, it's best to write and meet up. Oh, it'd be fun to meet and whatever they write. People do. She chose not to. In order to, so even when she didn't include the moral, that's because the moral was implied. Had she written the moral, which is, you know, write to me, it'd be sounding like begging people, asking them, please, I'm so, and constructing herself then as dependent, as, there are words for that I can't think of, but not interesting, right? Unable to live alone, or impatient, right? Too much. So that's just the beginning. I've got another aspect of text analysis, that will help us now then to produce beautiful synthesis and see more things happening in text. But that will be for another second or third class. I think we will finish here. I'm not sure that you can actually do the homework after this class that I indicated today for you to do. So what I might do is to actually change your homework and ask you to analyze another matrimonial ad from the same book. Written by an Indian man. So I will upload just this PowerPoint, and I would like for you to take lessons that you learned from the class today and see if you can actually produce a story, if you can paint it in colors, and if you can produce a story similar to the one I produced today about this ad. And we might actually look at some without revealing anyone's name, and we might discuss them next time we meet. Are you happy with that homework? It will take you 6 days to do it. I mean, it will take you 10 minutes, but what I'm saying is you don't have to get it ready until, say, Friday night. So, Dr. Ho, I think it is time to finish, right?
He's not here.
Pardon me? Oh, he's not here. All right. So do you have any questions? We start with questions. I mean, we finish with questions, sorry. We just finish with questions and then we will close. So does anyone have any questions? Did you enjoy the process that we were going through right now? Both, actually, the first matrimonial analysis and the second. Did you enjoy it?
Yes.
Yes, miss.
Yes.
It's amazing how much you can see in a text when you have some tools. The tools are nothing else like, do you see the phone when you turn on the light? I can't turn on the light in my phone. You know, the spotlight? And the tools allow you to just see. The discourse analysis tools allow you to turn on the spotlight or place the spotlight on things. So that's the job of discourse analysis, to help you, to give you tools that help you to see things that otherwise you would miss. Or maybe like this person, Rodney Jones, misinterpreted. He thinks that the girl was humorous about the dog, whereas my analysis says it was a deal breaker. Deal breaker in relationships is like, you know, you can go with, say, for example, you're married to a guy and you say, okay, you can have your time with boys, which means your friends, your mates. You can have time off. You can go skiing alone. I'm happy with it. But if you sleep with another woman, it's a deal breaker, right? It's over. There's nothing to talk about, right? So sometimes people have deal breakers. And for her, right in the end, she said, and the dog matters a lot. I will make his place prominent in my head. I will take the information about the dog out of the sequence of the ad and I'll put it right there so you don't miss it. Because once you finish the ad, you think, well, what is she writing? So you pay attention because the ad has finished. You know, I will respond if you send me a picture. And then there's more text and you think like, what the heck is she doing? And she says, well, the dog is a deal breaker. Nothing humorous about it. Dog can be cute, but that movement, that text movement out of the canonical sequence was purposeful and it was to make it prominent. Now, you can see that discourse analysis tools help you to shine the light and see more, or see better, or see differently, right? So maybe this guy, Rodney Jones, would still argue it was humorous because his tools tell him it was humorous. My question is, where did he get it from? He had no structure. It was intuitive. His structure was simple. What happened, how it happened, where it happened, with whom it happened, and for what it happened, right? A structure of a clause. It's just, he got it from a clause. From a clause, you don't get the meaning. I went to school, you don't get the meaning of it. It could be, I went to school because I was the right age, or I went to school because the weather was great, I went to school because I love school, it could be anything, right? So the words tell you nothing. You have to look around for, you have to have tools that allow you to see things in an independent way. And the canonical structure allowed you to see that the information about the dog was put there on purpose. Right? It allows you to see the break in the sequence. The guy with the first analysis, the first discourse analysis, didn't show that the girl took it out of a canonical sequence because they don't have a sequence, right? They just have verb, objective, something, something, whatever they have. Whereas we have an independent tool, which is the sequence. And having an independent tool allows you to see what was inside of a sequence and what was out of a sequence. And then you could analyze, why the heck did she do it? Can she write? It could be because she can't write. But you can reflect some more. And then you use emotion, right? So emotion is another tool. So you've got sequence, and then you have emotion as a way to understand the purpose of words. So what emotion was she projecting when she took the dog information out of a sequence and put it out there? Did you laugh when you saw it there? What emotion? Was it funny? Well, it was cute, but it wasn't funny. She took it there because make it prominent. She says the dog is important. Dog is important. So important that I took it out of the other descriptors so that the dog wouldn't disappear. Otherwise, if the dog is with the whole gray text, then it is as important as this guy being 25 or 35. It just disappears among the information that she inserted there about her desirable partner. She says, no, that's important. So this is about the partner. I'll take this out. It's very important. I don't want it to disappear, and I'll put it right outside. So when you look at what I did when I created what I call the draft, in the draft, the dog is inside of the ad, right? Inside of a descriptor of a guy. To take it outside, she had to think about it. And she says, okay, I've got all this attractive, passionate, blah, 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 and here's a dog. Like, it doesn't even go well because he is about the guy and he's about the dog. How about we separate it? The guy is here, the dog is here. This is important about the guy. This is important about the dog. I'll put it there at the end because the dog is important and I want to separate the two. So we can have what in English is called bun fights. Right? You throw buns at each other and argue about why she did that and analyze it with emotions or whatever. But seeing that she broke the canonical structure was very interesting. And the only way we could notice it is because we had an independent measuring scale, which is the sequence. The sequence is independent, right? I didn't create this sequence to analyze this text. This sequence I use for every text, and we will be using it for every text. Because it's independent, and it allows us to measure what people do with text. And it's very interesting. So I will finish now, and I will remove the homework as I worded it. I will put this thing here. This particular thing is to see whether you can now analyze another matrimonial advertisement using the guidelines we've taught today, and see what happens. Just do it in groups together, do it with each other, you know, like you don't have to do it on your own. I don't care, there's no grade for it, but not submitting the work will impact on the grade. But if you submit it and you say, these 3 people worked on it, or these 5 people worked on it, I'm fine with that. I just want, I would like to see you engaged a little bit and reinforce and discuss together and have bun fights and argue with one another, and that's great. That's discourse analysis, right? Okay, my friends, are we happy? Can we close it now? Do you have any more questions?
Question from my side.
Say it again.
Yeah, no question from my side. Yeah, thanks for
Okay,
teaching.
okay, yeah. All right, so we will finish now. And I'm not sure whether this recording will work or not. I have no idea. I think it doesn't work. The other one didn't, so I don't know. Anyway, it doesn't matter. What did I want to say? So you can discuss things with one another, and I will upload now the homework, and we'll see how you will deal with it. Okay, nice to meet you guys, and I hope to see you next week on Saturday.
Yeah, see you next week.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye, Miss. Thank you. Goodbye.
Bye-bye. Thank you.